Now, who doesn't love succulents? Succulents are all the rage right now. For people like us that are gardeners and like to get our hands dirty, we've always loved succulents as well as all the perennials and the annuals, but this is a special day. Generally on Mother's Day, you try to do something just a little extra special than just say, here you go, Mom, bought you a plant. Today we're making Kokedama balls, which are also called a Japanese moss ball. There's just a few simple ingredients that you need to make this for yourself. You're gonna need to choose succulents. Now I will tell you, this took me 2 days and 3 stores to figure out. I promise it's gonna be super simple and you are gonna absolutely love the results. This is something that you would get at a high-end boutique and Mom is gonna love it. First thing that you're gonna need is a good potting soil. We use Happy Frog, and then you're gonna also need some peat moss. You will need some jute twine, and I just added these extra colors for fun. You'll need scissors, and you'll need any succulent or plant that you choose to use. You're gonna need 2 empty containers, and then you're gonna need a rounded bottom bowl of some sort. This is gonna determine the size of your moss ball that you are going to actually make. So when you make a Kokedama ball, they could be very large or they could be very small. It just depends on what you're putting in it. After getting your potting soil in its own container, you do want to moisten it and just add a little bit of water. We're gonna mix that with our hands, but before that, I'm gonna grab our peat moss and we're gonna open it up and we're gonna put it in its own container as well, and we're gonna moisten it. This is not at all what I thought it was. I wanted sphagnum peat moss that was thick and long, kind of like straw, but this is like almost a powdery material, which is not gonna work for this project. So hold on, wait a minute. I've got something else. Now that is natural peat moss. Well, that solves that problem real quick. That came from the earth. This is gonna be fun. Let's get started. The first thing that we are gonna start with is some of this jute cord. We are gonna use a 12 to 16 inch piece. We're gonna cut 2 of them. The next thing we're gonna do is take this and right in the center here, we are just going to make a knot with both cords. That's simple. And now we have rope that goes in 4 different directions. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get your bowl. Depending on what size Kokedama ball that you would like to make, you would just get a bowl that almost or is completely rounded on the bottom. So I'm gonna use this medium one, and we're gonna take it, we're gonna put it here, we're gonna take our twine, and we are going to put it in the center, like so. Just like that. And that is going to be the very beginning of us wrapping our ball to make this awesome project. The next step is we have this jute twine, and we are going to take the natural moss and we are actually going to put it all inside. Try to keep that X where the jute twine joins. Try to keep that X in the center of your bowl. And we're going to put this moss on all sides. We're just going to keep packing it full like so. Now you have this half round ball. It has twine on all 4 corners, and then it has moss. And if you look at it, that's what it's gonna look like. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that damp soil, we're just gonna take a little bit of it, and we're just gonna set it right in the center. Now is where the fun begins. So we have the very start of half of our moss ball. See it here? And now we have to choose what succulents that we're going to put in it. Do we want things that are tall, things that are short, some are flat or squatty, just filler? This is where your creative mind takes place. So the next step is, like we said, to choose. Now we're gonna have to separate these succulents and we're gonna have to try to make it and use our creative mind. So I'm going to leave mine right here. I'd like to use a little bit of everything. So let's start with something taller. This is called Golium jade, and what it does, just like any other jade plant, it has the same texture. It'll grow its petal type leaves and then it'll start to curl. This one's a good example. It'll start to curl until it totally curls into itself, and then it makes it more of a solid circular type of jade that looks like it has a little suction cup on the end of it. So it's pretty neat looking. So let's take this apart and see what the best piece is. coming apart pretty nicely. So it looks like we have 4 plants here. And when you're making these, what you need to do, if the root ball size is a little too big for what you're making, you just shake out the soil that's already in here to make it a little bit thinner. And if it's still too much, you can actually shear it off a little bit like this. They will grow back. That's sufficient roots to take care of this beautiful jade plant. So here's gonna be our tall piece. I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna add a little bit of the wet soil. Now let's add something else. Let's go over to this watch chain and try some of that. So you can see this watch chain is individual little tiny plants. So we can actually just go in very gently with our hands and pick the size piece that we would like. I think that's a little bit better for my root ball. What do you think? A little bit more soil. I think it's gonna look really, really, really nice. Okay, so the next thing that I think it needs, it's gonna have its tall pieces, and then it's gonna have its small fill-in spots right here. So I think we should put some of this here, right along here. How's that look, you guys? Does that look good? I think that looks good. Now we need to take this and add just a little bit more of the soil, just so that the roots and the plants have good mycorrhizal fungi and some good drainage and some good nutrients. And then the next step is we need to add some more moss. Sorry, it's getting windy in here. We can add our moss like so and push it into a circular motion. So I'm going to stick this right here. Just keep turning. Make sure that you keep your twine out. Gently remove some of the dirt and the sandy loam. We're just going to take it. We're going to give it a good little squeeze. We're going to turn it around. We're going to make sure everything looks great still. Be careful not to squeeze a succulent. Just squeeze in the moss. Okay. And then from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all of our juke and we're gonna crisscross it. Make sure we don't cut off our succulents. And we are going to tie a knot. We're gonna tie it pretty tight to keep our moss ball nice and tight. And then we're gonna take it this way and we are gonna also tie it nice and tight. Right on that same side that we were at. We are going to go back later and we're going to cut this off. But for now, we are actually going to leave it. Okay, so from here, we are going to lift up our moss ball. Make sure we've got it padded nicely. Do you see the general look of what it's going to look like? So we're creating this nice, beautiful Kokedama ball that's full of moss and beautiful succulents. And this will be a beautiful decoration to anyone's home. And this time it's gonna be for Mother's Day. You're going to take your jute twine and you're gonna start wrapping it around your moss ball. Tightly, make it a little snug, but not too tight to cut off any of the circulation of the succulents. From here, you just want to pull it tight. And you could just cut a little bit extra long. And then what you could do is softly set it down and find another piece of twine. And just loop it underneath. Make sure that you kind of pull it tight and tie it off tight. Loop it around, make sure that you pulled it tight again. And then make your knot. This is your finishing knot. So you want to make sure that this knot is really good. Maybe even double tie it, because this is what can unravel your whole Kokedama ball. And from here, you can actually cut this off. And you can take this ball and you can actually shove it up in there. So it's not really seen. So here's my ball. Just gonna squeeze it nicely. Okay. Isn't that cool? It's a complete circle. Now from this point, I've actually bought other color yarn. where I can intermingle the twine, which is the brown burlap color, with an aqua, a turquoise, or even a sage, just to give it an even more organic look. Today, I'm just going to use the twine on this because I really like the way it looks. Kokedama ball, isn't that cool? Now sometimes people take these and they leave their twine long, and what they would do is they could tie on a piece of twine here, make it about 24 inches long or 18 inches long, and they would tie it on here, and then they would be able to tie it on the other side, and they would hang it at a slant or straight up, and you could hang it from your cabinet, you could hang it from your front window, and it's just a beautiful addition to any organic looking decor. Now you might ask how to water it. This is what you do. All you have to do to take care of this Kokedama ball is 1 to 2 times a week, you're gonna actually take this ball and you're gonna submerge it plant side up inside a bowl of water. So you will submerge it to about here. And you're gonna have to push it down until this moss, soil, and twine actually absorb the water. So it's gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes to actually push it down and water this plant. When it's done, you're going to pull it up and you're gonna squeeze it gently in a ball-like motion until it stops dripping. And then it is ready to go back where you had it and display its beauty. Now that I'm done with my mother's project with this larger bowl, which still is only about a 4-inch large bowl, we're gonna go with a 2-inch, and I'm gonna make smaller ones for my sisters. Now, this video is gonna post after they received it for Mother's Day, because we're doing our Mother's Day on Saturday as a family, and I hope they love it. What do you think about the little one? I think the little one is darling. Look at this. Let's compare it to the big one for my mother. So this was the 2-inch bowl and this was the 4-inch bowl. What do you think? You like them? Well, there you have it. I am done. And to answer your question, I am the oldest of 8, and I have 4 sisters. And then I also have 2 sister-in-laws. Let me show you them. So I've made 6 small Kokedama balls, also known as Japanese moss balls, for my sisters and my sister-in-laws. And then 1 large one for my mother. Aren't they beautiful? It took me no time, and it was so easy, but I really, really enjoyed the creativeness. Super duper cute, right? Thank you so much for watching us. If you haven't already, please hit the little subscribe button and hit the little dingle bell so you're alerted every single time we upload new videos. I hope you enjoyed this fun project, and I really appreciate you watching today. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.